Welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Welcome to another episode of Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station Show. We're so happy to have travel writer Debbie Stone back on the show today to talk about her temple hopping adventures in Bagan-Myanmar, and she went with Journeys Within, a Wild Frontiers company, and her article will be featured in the summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, but you can see it now, and all kinds of cool photos of hot air balloons and temples and sunsets. Check it out at blendradioandtv.com, and also you'll see that Debbie's an expert contributor there, and when you go to her page, you can go and see all the different articles she's done in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine and on blendradioandtv.com. So, Debbie, I'm going to say, Fire Monkey's become your name ever since, you were in Bhutan. Number one, welcome back. But number two, did you feel Fire Monkey-like vibes while you went, in Myanmar? I know Bhutan, they gave you that name. Did you feel the Fire Monkey spirit?
It's really pretty funny because, I thought, this Fire Monkey thing must transfer to all of these different Buddhist nations, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But I was wrong. And when I was in Yangon, which is the place where you fly into, it's the largest city, and we went to a temple. And my guide said, well, do you see the people that are washing the Buddhas? And each Buddha, there's a Buddha for each day of the week. And he says, what day of the week were you born? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, give me your birth date and your year. And I did. And he said, oh, you were born on a Friday. He said, you're a guinea pig.
Oh my gosh. Oh, my gosh. So we're going from fire monkey to guinea pig.
Yeah, I know. And then I'm like looking at him going, no, I'm a fire monkey. And he's like, not here. Not here.
Oh.
You're a guinea pig.
Well, you better not go to Peru because they'll eat you.
I know that.
No, but being a guinea pig is putting yourself in
new positions,
different positions,
or new places,
and new places and test yourself.
Yeah,
right.
So it's kind of cool.
It was
wow.
interesting.
And then, I found
myself. And I found myself doing.
Go ahead.
I know. I found myself. He was like, here is the Buddha for Friday, and he said, here's your ladle, your cup of water, and he said, you need to wash the Buddha, and he said you need to wash it as how many years that you're. How old are you in terms of, the Buddha? I'm like going, we'll be here all day. And I was like,
wow.
Oh my gosh. This is such an amazing story because I love this. I love
Where
that.
do guinea pigs even come from?
I know. Well, Peru. I don't know. All I know is they eat guinea pigs in Peru. Did you eat guinea pig when you were in Peru, Debbie? I'm just already assuming you've been there.
I don't eat meat, but I was in Peru, and I was actually in Cusco, and we were in this restaurant, and all of a sudden the man comes, and he's got one of those wonderful silver plates with the tops, and he's like, we have a special for everyone tonight. And he lifts up the lid, and there is a guinea pig on its back, and it's already been cooked, and he said, and this is specialty. This is special for you. And I'm looking at it going, no, I did not eat it, but there were other people who did and said that it was a very mild flavor. It wasn't, very gamey at all. It was very mild. Once again, people say it's like chicken, and
everything is like chicken.
Everything.
It's true. It's like chicken.
Flying ants aren't. Well, this is interesting because you don't eat meat. I know you eat fish. Nancy and I pretty much are vegetarian. I'm trying to go back to my world of veganism. What is the food like there in Bagan in Myanmar? Is it because I always think of the East being more vegetarian, but am I right on that?
There are, of course, lots and lots of people who are vegetarian. I mean, that eat vegetables and keep to a kind of a vegetarian diet. But they also do have, they have fish and they have chicken, and I didn't see lots of meat, red meat. So, in terms of food, you have to understand that I think when people understand where Myanmar is in terms of it's bordered by India, it's bordered by Bangladesh, by Thailand, by Laos, and by China. So, you've got all these influences, mainly from the cuisines of India, Thailand, and China. So you've got all this kind of intense flavors, these spices that come in there. There's curries that are very, very popular, and, of course, noodle dishes that are, very, very popular as well. And, when you have a meal, they bring out all these different little dishes. So it's quite extensive. It's, different little dishes, whether they're, tart little salads of veggies. There's lime juice. There's coconut that's used, and so it's really interesting. Kind of takes you on this, kind of flavorful sensory experience, and things smell and they taste and they, have texture, and so I do love eating in different countries. I think it's one of the most interesting ways to understand culture as well, and to see how people prepare food, how do they eat food, and so so for me, that's one of my highlights. I love travel. Food and travel is just, of course, it goes together. So.
In your article, you talk about the tart salad of veggies. You say with lime juice, peanuts, and chilies, and curried or fried, in a curried or fried main entree. But having peanuts and chilies, to me, that's I'm in for life. As soon as I just even read that lime, peanut, and chili, I'm there forever. Because I think even in Mexico you have that kind of flavoring going on. They use a lot of lime.
Yes, you put the lime in the coconut.
Now that's a different island. That's an island. But but there's just this spices in there. So when you're, going back to Bhutan, because it just I feel like there's a connection between the two with all the temples and and the different beliefs. When you were there, you had a lot of chilies. Did you see as much chilies over there, or in I'm going to say Burma? I keep forgetting Myanmar. Did you see a lot of chilies and have that in your food?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Very, very prominent. Very, 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 very prominent. You see them being sold in the marketplace, and dried and in other different types of forms. And and I think sometimes there's and this is not regarding food, but this is regarding the name, because I know you said Burma and then Myanmar, and the people do call it by either name a lot of times. And when you're there and you say Burma, people understand, and nobody blinks an eyelid about it. Burma was the name, and it was the name through when Britain ruled, and it was a colony, and then it became independent. I think it was around 1948, but then in the early 1960s, I think 1962, the military took over, and the military junta took over for 50 some years or whatever it was, and they changed. They didn't want to use the British names, the English names, and so they changed. They had a name change back. I think it was 1989 when the military junta was there, and they made that name change from Burma to Myanmar. But some people are confused. Some people don't even know what Myanmar is, where Myanmar is. But then you say Burma, and people are like, "Oh, Burma," because that's what they've known it for so many years.
Exactly. It's so it's like Rhodesia and Zimbabwe and Namibia. We used to know it as Southwest Africa. When last time you were on the show was Namibia. So it's so interesting how these name changes affect us, but they do. And Tanzania versus Tanganyika, whatever. Just have some gin.
It's so true.
Say about East Africa, but going back to Myanmar, did you see any elephants? I have to ask that since we did interviews about the elephant project.
No, we did not. A lot of the elephant projects, a lot of them are in Thailand, and we did not see any. And our focus really was not creatures and wildlife. It was more culture, Buddhist immersion, and especially in Bagan, which is all about that. This is a place that I think has the largest collection of Buddha structures in the world, from what I understand.
Wow.
And currently there's, I think, more than 2,200, but there was, at the height of when this kingdom was there, it had up to almost 10,000 temples, and these are built back in the 11th and 13th centuries, but they were built because people wanted that, they thought that this is a way for them to get karma and a way for them to get to enlightenment, and so they thought, okay, we're going to build more and we're going to build bigger, and and so these thousands of temples were created in this period of time.
And when I'm looking at all your pictures, that the intricacy that goes into these temples. I mean, you talk about kind of getting to a point where you need to take a break from the temples because you'll get into a crazy zone. And I look at some of them with the gold and then it's like the paintings, and it's such cool, intricate work that I almost feel like anyone building all of this was in a meditational zone doing it because it's so intricate.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, just amazing the amount of work and labor, and you think, the talent and the skill back then when it was, back in the 12th century or whatever it was, and, they were building this. And when you're there, of course, it went from 10,000 to 2,200 because of, one of the biggest things that the issues there is earthquakes. It's a huge area for, it's known for, having hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes over the years, and they do their damage along with, like, erosion and neglect. And so, so the 10,000 temples came down, very over the years to 2,200 or so, and they're trying to restore some of them back to their former glory. But many of them are in different states of appearance, so to speak, and you'll see them, these huge, massive, fortresses, these gilded masterpieces, where it's so, it is so bright you think, oh my God, this looks like, it's like is this Disney? Is this, what I mean? It's just, it's
amazing.
It's surreal. It's just surreal. Yeah. And then you go to some of the more, modest ones, some of the ones that are really in a bit of crumbling, their shells, and they are in different states of disrepair, so to speak, and some of them are just more. You can get away from the madding crowds. I mean, there aren't. I don't consider crowds in Myanmar, but there are popular temples, obviously the ones that a lot of the tourists go to. But then you can easily get away from people and just be out there, and not come across anyone. And it's just, I don't know, just a really interesting experience. Sometimes there's a certain eerie quality to places that civilizations used to inhabit, like Machu Picchu, and it's just Angkor Wat. It's just you do feel something, I think.
It's like this is when we lived in Kenya and we went to different places that said this is where humanity was born, the Garden of Eden, and this kind of and people have different ideas on that, but you go to a spot and just standing there, I guess your imagination takes over, and you can almost connect with that whole idea of, well, maybe this is the Garden of Eden, and this is maybe this is where
Rift Valley.
Yeah.
The Rift Valley is the trippiest place ever,
so
because
trippy.
To me that's more like dinosaur vibes.
Yes.
I love dinosaurs.
You know. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
But when you go in these places, but you think about, just like Mexico with the Myanmar. And I'm like the Mayan structures, those whole pyramids that everybody built.
Right.
Yeah. How much you just don't you want to wish you could go in a time machine back and sit and talk to them, like the people who built these temples?
Yes.
And everyone there. Does everyone around the temples that live in Myanmar and are they in Bagan, are they not wanting people there? Are they wanting tourists but not too much? What's the vibe of people coming in to their land?
I think they're very welcoming. I found the Burmese people to be extremely warm and hospitable, and
Cool.
they want tourists. They want more tourists to come. It provides necessary, income and financial enhancement to a country that is, definitely third world, and definitely could use a boost of economy. And tourism gets to the local person. It gets to the people that you meet, and so yes, they welcome people. The temples are all in the archaeological zone, so people are not living in that zone, and so you can you're not wandering around through people's houses kind of thing looking at temples. It's a space. It's a 26 square miles. It's a big area, and it's difficult. Would be difficult to walk on foot. You could walk on foot in places, no problem, but in terms of trying to see a lot of it, there's a various, people rent, motorbikes, people, cycle, people, take cars with guides, people get onto a horse cart, which I think is pretty fun because I think that's kind of like a low-tech way of doing it that was maybe... like a traditional transportation form, and there you are, and you're kind of out there, and they take you, and they get away from people, and you're out there in this little cart with a horse and a driver, and it's just, I don't know, to me it's just, really nice. I enjoy that kind of stuff, I don't want to be on a motorcycle or, anything like that,
Yeah.
The other thing, too, you went with Wild Frontiers, and this company is a tour company. So what was that like in regards to going with them? Have you worked with them before?
Yes. Journeys Within is a Wild Frontiers company, and Journeys Within specializes in Southeast Asia. And a number of years ago, I went to Vietnam and Cambodia with this company, and they specialize in customized kind of bespoke tours that give a chance to really connect with local people, to really understand culture, and they try to create very unique itineraries that offer these kinds of different types of experiences, and they do a wonderful job of it. The guides are extremely well versed in their areas, and they always use locals, of course, and everything is done very detailed from start to finish, and I cannot recommend them more. I think they're a terrific company. But so it was just my husband and I, and so we had a guide and at various places, various junctures, and it was wonderful, and I felt like it was a really special experience.
I want everyone to know their website, journeys-within.com, or go to wildfrontierstravel.com. I think it's important, especially when you go to, Myanmar is, I know some people are going to be scared to go. That's why I was talking about, walking around and things like that. I think when you go with a company like this, it kind of takes that edge off, and it just helps you get, you don't want to be wandering around lost. I do that a lot, and I find cool places, but there's a difference. Every park I want to. If I hang out with a park ranger, I know what I'm looking at. My experience is tenfold. So that's the same thing. If you're going to go all the way to Myanmar, that's a big trip, and
absolutely
have someone that's going to take you to what you want to see.
I think you should always go with a recognized tour company first. And then if you want to return, once you got your sea legs, so to speak, then you can go on your own.
Or hang with them for a different thing, too.
But I really, having led tours and such, I really think it's important that people go with somebody that knows what they're doing, and you don't have the possible bad experience. You have the best of the best. You learn so much.
I think you need to, I like to go with people with companies that have a reputation for really providing this kind of niche type of experience, and there's a number of wonderful tour companies out there, and people just need to do a bit of their homework and word of mouth and a little research. But it's a company like this that has had years and years of experience in Southeast Asia, and living there and understanding the people and the culture and making the connections and the contacts with the right people, the people that they feel will be able to represent the country and will be able to connect with the travelers that they send.
You actually get to see more.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely.
I'm looking at what you did. You went on a hot air balloon, dude, and you got to see all the temples on a hot air balloon. Like, are you kidding me? Dude, and the sunsets. Are you kidding me? I'm just like, Debbie, like fire monkey, guinea pig. Dude.
Yeah.
Monkey, guinea pig. Your name just got longer.
FMGP is your new name.
It's to me, being in that hot air balloon was such a surreal experience. I kept telling my husband, pinch me. I cannot believe I'm doing this. I mean, I've been in hot air balloon rides before, but this one was unbelievable. It's sunrise and just seeing all of these temples from that, kind of bird's eye view, and you're looking and it just, I don't know, it was magnificent and just this amazingly otherworldly skyline. And I think I put in my story that Marco Polo, when he saw it, he said it was one of the finest sights in the world, and I can imagine when it was back in, there were thousands more,
Wow. Have you been to Cambodia?
Yes.
What is that like compared to this? I'm just kind of trying to get a vibe of it all. Like how
Angkor Wat, it's amazing and incredible and mystical and all that, and it's huge and massive. And then there's all these other temples that are not that you go to as well, and some of them are in nature is taking over, so a tree is growing through them, and that kind of thing. Angkor Wat is, I think, as I put in there, that the rise of Bagan occurred about the same time as Angkor Wat, and Angkor Wat just became this huge tourist magnet. So you get so many people going to Angkor Wat, and there's so many people there, viewing and visiting those temples and trying to catch their shots at sunrise or sunset or whatever it is, and so this, I just felt like this was just so incredibly special, and you weren't getting the mob scene.
Oh, I like that, because that I can't stand the mob. Like we always talk about, we get people go to these parks, and then we go to the park and we're like, get out, not to be rude. You know what I mean? There's just this. You need that personal space to breathe and feel, and sometimes that's part of that whole experience. You go to India, you're gonna have mobs, in different places. But some of the temples really do have. Just the architecture feels very Indian to me, personally, and one thing I want to touch on, because we think about Buddhism, and it's about, to me, it's like this journey up where you just keep coming back up and keep getting better. It's like you just have to keep going. It's like Groundhog Day. You have to keep going up these stairs until you can just get a clear passage through, man, in life. I don't know how to explain that, but when it comes to this, there's some interesting spirit things, like some of these little spiritual things that you went through. There was some naughty, this almost feels like the Iceland thing when you were talking about Iceland. Yes. Right? There's some creepy little spirit things out there.
They call them the Nats. I think Nats are the pronunciation, but
that's where the start of Nazis came from.
37 of them, I think, and they each had some story about dying this horrifically violent death, and they're known for kind of a vengeful nature, and so people build these shrines to them, and they make offerings, to appease these spirits, so there is that, yes. And I think in so many different religions and cultures there are these kinds of things, and like you were mentioning in Iceland, it's like you can find crossovers in different cultures around the world, I think.
Well, it's people, and I would call it bad luck, so you want to ward off the bad luck. So
if you don't see the experience of bad, you're never going to know.
When you look at history, it's important to put a face to something.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
You get to have that god, goddess, and the gremlins and the warlords, and you have to put a face to it so that people can assimilate it and understand it. So,
and
it's like leprechauns.
Yes,
leprechauns are cool.
And so everybody's got something, and and Buddhism has different. I think that, they have like 3 branches. This here in Myanmar, it's they call it Theravada. I think it is Theravada, and this is the one that originated in northern India and Nepal before it spread across this area, the Southeast Asia area. But this one, and I think I don't know all the other Buddhism, the different branches, but I think they do emphasize some sort of self-control, and they emphasize discipline, and they all talk about not being attached to material objects, and this is a way to get to this pathway and move yourself up through this pathway of enlightenment.
Yeah, it is. It's the staircase, the stairway to heaven.
Yep.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, and I want to talk about the caves because that's really cool. Because you think about temples, and each one is so unique when you're looking at your photos and reading the story about each one. But when you left there, did it make you? Did you feel more spirit? Did you have like any kind of internal like thoughts that? Did you shift perspective of spirituality, or did you feel more closer to things, or just did something move you in that way?
I think my time, I've been in Nepal, and then when I did that Buddhist immersion in Bhutan, that was very special for me, I think, and that actually really moved me in many ways, I think. And so I felt really I felt comfortable there because I had such an immersion experience with Buddhism that it wasn't foreign. It's still a very intricate and complex religion, but I felt on more familiar ground with it, and
That's nice.
so it was just more of a comfortable experience. It wasn't like, oh, what's all this? Tell me all about it. It was kind of like I felt like, oh, I understand. I understand some of this stuff, and so it's not all new, and it's not all kind of overwhelming. Yes, it's it was very overwhelming in terms of, there's so many temples, and that can be overwhelming in itself. But I just think I felt more comfortable with it, and I wasn't so kind of frantic or anxious about trying to understand it all.
Yeah. Cool. I think sometimes that takes time too. When you see so much, you can't decipher it all in one day.
Right.
And I think I love that you talk about like temple fatigue, and go see something else, break it up, because otherwise you start to trip out, and then you do lose the meanings and feelings. If you you know what I mean?
They all start looking the same.
Yeah, you need to break it up so you can get the stories. Going from the temples to the caves, and they're not quite real caves, right? These are they're paintings on walls, but it's a darker area, right?
Right, and there is no, there hasn't been any light, which is good in many ways because it's protected the artwork, and you go in and you're like, I can't believe that this is 12th century, in the 1100s, and it's still you can still see it, and it's colorful, and it's just that there are these frescoes that are just amazing, and you can't believe that they're still there, but because the light hasn't gotten in there, they've been protected,
And you know how much harder it was to do paintings like that than today? Really, they worked at that.
I know.
Yeah.
And just even getting the colors and the dyes. And then, speaking about that kind of work, the lacquer work, that is pretty much a big part of what they do is making this lacquerware.
It's been going on for, umpteen years, and it's, family businesses, and I was blown away, though, by the production, because I had no idea. First of all, I didn't even know what it really came from, and, you learn that it's a resin that comes from a particular tree, and they collect it like sap from, these notches at the trunk, and then, from an object, if you're creating a bowl or whatever it is, that body is made from usually bamboo, and strips of bamboo, and then it's painted with the lacquer, and they have to do 9 coatings outside, 9 coatings inside. Each layer takes a week to dry. Wow. And then, so 4.5, months later, basically, you now are ready to do a design. And then we watched as these women were doing the design, and it's pretty much freestyle, and they're using this special small knife, and they're carving, and it's so intricate. And after they've carved, and it's filled in with color, and that you're talking about the natural dyes which they use. But I was blown away by the process and the painstakingness of it all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy, huh?
I mean, that to me, I think in this day and age, to have that to balance us all out, we need that to still be in. We need weavers and artists and, just to balance us out and to be able to see that kind of thing. That's awesome. So people can go on a tour and actually experience that. That's
they can
awesome.
go to a lacquerware, one of the workshops there. There are several, and you can go in and they'll, it's an informal kind of thing, and they'll talk to you, and then you can walk around and watch somebody stripping the bamboo with their, feet, and then somebody, doing the, the lacquer application. It's fascinating to me, and also it's such a lesson in patience, isn't it? It's such a lesson in patience. We expect things to happen so quickly, and in our society, and it's you go to other places and you watch how a craft is done and how it's done traditionally, and how it's all about patience and time
and love, and they're dedicated to what they do,
taking joy in those. I think we end up just accumulating so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because, like, I know in your article you're talking about, you're hearing people with mantras, singing their mantras, and that's your song today, by the way, mantra.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, I have to play the song. I whenever I can, I will, because it's just a reminder of, how much do we have to have in our houses? How much do we have to have? Can't we just enjoy the simple things? And I think when we travel and we go to places like Myanmar or the Rift Valley, or that it puts us back into perspective about what humankind is supposed to be like, and I am not saying I'm anti-movement or progression and, solar and, all those good things, just there's a balance of what is important, and I think we lose track of importance, and travel brings you back home when you go to places like Myanmar. Your story definitely did for me. It's like, oh yeah,
and you asked me about, whether anything changed. I think for me, it's like when I'm there, you realize time slows, and patience, and I'm a fairly, I'm kind of a very energetic person, and I'm also somebody who's, it's like, okay, I want those results. I want them now, kind of thing, and and perfectionist tendencies, and all those kinds of things. And it's like, then you're there, and it's just all of that kind of fades away. And so I like to take that feeling and bring it back home with me, and see if I can remind myself to, stop and to be more patient, and just to understand that, Rome wasn't built in a day, and, things aren't going to be done exactly the way I want them to. There's going to be imperfections or whatever it is, and it's all okay, and to not be so demanding and expecting of myself, And so I think that's what I kind of took. I think I try to take that away from me, away with me. Yeah.
You went from fire monkey to guinea pig.
You did.
I'll never hear the end of this. I can just see it.
Oh my gosh, this is never ending. I love this.
This is so cool.
I know. And guinea pigs are so cute.
I love guinea pigs.
I know.
I don't want to eat them.
Seriously, no eating of them, But this is just amazing. This is, whenever you go, east like this, I just get, because we haven't explored that side of the world at all. And you're every time I look at pictures, and you've got some amazing sunset shots with the temples. I mean, I am mystified. To me, this is magical, and
it is.
I don't know. I do want to drink champagne though, and look out at that time if that's allowed.
Drink champagne.
I don't know if that's
in
Buddhist,
the hot air balloon.
I do.
Of course.
My
you
champagne.
end your hot air. You always end your hot air balloon with a champagne toast.
But I wanted it to top. See, now what would have been really difficult for me on the balloon ride, the hot air balloon ride.
What?
I get too excited. I'd be like, I know you're talking about pinch moments, like pinch me
boat.
I'd be like, dude. But at the same time, I'm like really bad about heights. But I'd be all like, dude, and then I want to jump up and down, And I can't. I'd be like, no, nobody wants that,
No.
And it's, but anyway, anyhow.
No,
it's really,
when you're up there, you're just kind of, I don't know. It's almost like very
floating,
trance-inducing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're mesmerized by the scenery,
dude.
and so you're not, you're not like jumping up and down. You're just kind of like trying to just kind of absorb it and take it in, and put your camera away for a minute and just look. It's to me.
That's important.
Let me ask you about the landing.
Yeah,
when you come in for a landing, how did you feel?
It was fine. I mean, our pilot, a lot of the pilots in Myanmar are British. They just happen to have a reputation for being, I think, one of the top, or if not the top, balloon pilots in the world in regards to their training and experience. And so I felt, this guy has been doing it for years all over the world, and he was been in Myanmar for a number of years. They know what they're doing. Of course, balloons, go with they're, you're dependent on the wind, of course, and
right.
But we had a very soft, very gentle landing, and there were probably about I'd say a couple dozen balloons up at the same time from different companies there, and they all landed in different fields or spaces, and everybody was fine, and it's an incredible sight. And then you land and you get out of the balloon, and then they have champagne toast for you and give you your little certificate that says you've flown with them, and it's all wonderful, all great.
I have to add this note, as everyone, this is a recorded interview, but today that we're recording the interview, today is the date that Steve Fawcett landed in Leader, Saskatchewan. I can't pronounce any of that in Canada, becoming the first person to make a solo flight across the Pacific Ocean in a balloon. This was in 1995, so I had to add this trivia. So this was an exact month from when this airs, which everyone, when we aired this on March 22nd, will actually be the day we are now out and on the tour, our Love Your Parks tour, documenting all of America's parks. So your interview marks, hey, we're taking off, not in a balloon, but in a RAV4. So I just want to say this is exciting. I'm so glad it's happening with this interview, because it's kind of that interesting thing of like patience and fire and all that good stuff. I mean, I love that, because even though a hot air balloon has to have hot air, you have to be a fire monkey to have the guinea pig float. So that's it. I love this. Where's your next destination, Debbie?
I think I plan to go to Hilton Head, actually. I'm going to be in South Carolina, and I'm going to, I'm arranging it, it's still in the works, but Hilton Head Health, it's called. So it's a place that focuses on your health. And it's going to be interesting. It's like a destination spa, but it's focused on health and well-being, and so I thought it'd be interesting to visit and experience, and then let readers and listeners know about this unique place that's on Hilton. I've never been to Hilton Head. I've been to Charleston, but I've not been to Hilton Head, and I think it would be a really fun experience. So, and after that, I will be doing I will be cruising up in the fjords of Norway at the end of May.
Ooh, wow.
And in between I have a couple of other things going on. I plan to, I think I'm doing a story on a cooking class here in Santa Fe that focuses on Georgia O'Keeffe and her cooking and what she did and her recipes, and that should be really interesting as well.
Did she cook with flowers, you know?
Yeah. She was ahead of her time with everything. She was probably one of the first people, if not at first, to do green drinks, you know what I mean? And she would just go out in the garden and pick her herbs and her veggies, and then she'd whip it up in the kitchen. But I mean, she was quite she read voraciously about organic gardens and gardening and food, and there are so many photographs of her out there picking things, getting lettuces for her salads, and she wanted to eat well, you know what I mean?
So when we go through New Mexico, we need to go hang out. There's a museum that you know about, right? That we need to go do.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. I'm a docent at the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, and I will give you a private tour. So
awesome!
Oh, we are so on. We are on.
Yeah. Okay.
Like guinea pig Donkey Kong.
No, it's fire monkey, guinea pig, Donkey Kong.
I know. I love this. Well, we're really hoping that we do get to catch you in between travels and however the road happens in Santa Fe. And everybody stay tuned to that. We've got our loveyourparkstour.com website. You can follow that and our blog on there. Priscilla, our sock monkey, is the official blogger. So we got a sock monkey, Priscilla. So Fire Monkey needs to meet Priscilla the pink sock monkey.
That's true.
This is getting a little crazy, but it's all good. Everybody, again, going back to Myanmar and this amazing journey that you Debbie had. I mean, everyone, go to blendradioandtv.com and just type in Myanmar or type in temple and you'll find it. Or Debbie, you can see her in our expert department, Debbie Stone, and read her article there. It'll also be featured in the summer issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine that comes out in June. I think so. Yes, May 1st. It'll be there on May Day. You'll be able to see it. And everyone, of course, thank you for joining us here. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Our shows air on Wednesday, Fridays, and Sundays. And the best place, again, bigblendradio.com. And we've got a special song for the Fire Monkey Guinea Pig. And this is called Mantra, and it's from our good friend Wally Lauder, who has just returned from Hawaii, from the Hawaii Islands, and hanging out in the volcanoes. Mm-hmm. And he's about to release new albums. He's based here in Tucson. And we met him on our tour, the very, very beginnings of our tour in Silver City, New Mexico.
Oh,
kind
wonderful.
of south of you. I know, right? So this song, Mantra, we love it. It's part of a feature we do as ambassadors for the 8 Keys of Excellence. This is a song that was submitted for one of the Keys of Excellence. So here it is, Mantra, everybody, and you can keep up with Wally at wallylauder.com. Thanks so much, Fire Monkey Debbie.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did you see the sky this morning? The way the blue turned into violet. Tones of peach on the horizon, strings of wispy clouds just off the rim. Or were you crazy for the mantra? You must have more, one more thing. Work a little more for one more thing. Don't stop now, you're almost there. One more. Did you feel the wind not be crazy.